Even when I used to work out all the time, when I used to work out, when I used to work out.
Ever have protein powder? Yeah, I used to have it. When I used to work out, I used to take protein powders.
I myself, I jerk off at least twice a day. Wow. Once in the morning, right after I work out, and then once right after lunch.
If the intro screen hasn't made this apparent, or the runtime for that matter, this video is gonna cover so goddamn much, which, if I'm being honest, makes the travel portion of my real job a lot easier, in that I only have to kinda keep tabs on what Phil is doing, and can focus more on, you know, the work that pays my bills. But on the other hand, man, this already seems daunting. Also, you'll see their intros, but I want to say up front, big ups to Doody Streams and big ups to Snort Hogan. Once again, I really appreciate you letting me use your work for my vids. Thank you. Oh, and potential exciting update to the channel is coming. No, it's not a cat, and no, I'm not fundraising for it. Now, let's see how terrible Phil has been this week.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. Snort, snort, snort,
Hogan. Drip,
snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go. I should marry her. You know, I should marry Cat. Maybe someday. Stealth Guild did a super chat. Can you chew with your mouth closed, please? No. I can only chew with my mouth open to annoy you. I do it on purpose, actually, to make sure that people who are really like entitled whiny bitches on the internet are very annoyed. That's why I do it, actually. So thank you for the super chat, as I enjoy this amazing dip.
I actually saw this the day it happened and knew I couldn't ignore it. Everyone and their mother has already talked about it, but oh well. Phil, you are just a piece of shit for this. Your viewer paid you money, asked politely, like way more politely than I would have, and instead of showing any kind of decorum or respect to your primary source of a fucking income, you mock them and proceed to actually do disgusting shit. You know, not accidentally, but with intent. Then you call the donor entitled. I hate to tell you this, Phil. Asking someone not to have a gaping mouth while they chew isn't entitlement. It's manners. And yeah, I know, manners can sometimes go out the window if you're chilling with your boys or something, but even if I had friends over in my home and they caught me accidentally chewing with my mouth open, I'd apologize and be embarrassed. But I don't think Phil possesses the ability to be embarrassed. That fuse must have blown when the incident happened.
Wow. That is so good. Oh, tortilla chip broke. What am I doing? I should eat the quesadillas too. The dip is outstanding, but I should totally try the quesadillas, because you put a lot of effort into those. So this has seasoned fajita chicken, pico de gallo, cheese, what else? I think some bacon bits. It might have a lot in it. Let's just take a bite. I think it has a ton of things in it. Wow. I don't even need to dip it in anything. This is hours old. My wife made this over 2 hours ago. I warmed it up to bring it up here. It's full of flavor. It tastes amazing.
I did react to this live, and in my reaction to this portion, I wanted to, but didn't go into the fact of course it's full of flavor. What else would it be full of? It's a fucking quesadilla. Also, remember just a few days ago when Phil was telling everyone how to lose weight and what to avoid? Didn't this asshole harp on not having cheese over and over and over? What happened to the no cheese, Phil? Of course Phil enacts double standards whenever he fucking can, but the double standard in tandem with the blatant disrespect to his viewer, I don't know, it hit me wrong. But go off, DSP. Perhaps next you can give advice on saving money.
I was skeptical about the bacon. The bacon tastes great in this. Wow. This is so good. I can't stop eating it. I know I have to commentate on a game, but this is really good. Whoa. It's super good.
Pig eating bacon. Is that a form of cannibalism? No, but I left that dead air in as a reminder that Phil expects to be paid for this. He considers the pig noises as he chews meaningful content. Him telling his dents how robust or flavorful his food is, that's why people are here. And I might sound like Phil here for a second, because I have to think that anyone who would think, yeah, let me make wet chomping pig noises, that'll secure the bag, is so mentally damaged that they should probably be a ward of the state.
I love both. Oh, Stealth Guild did another super chat. Says I'm not entitled. It's basic table manners. Oh, I'm sorry. Were we at a table? Are we sitting at a 5-star restaurant at a table? Are we? Is Grandma Moses sitting in the corner? Is she upset with you because of your manners? I'm sorry. Is that what the atmosphere was tonight? With me in my jersey drinking Long Island iced tea, commentating on an NFL game that I don't even know the players in the game. Just the utmost professionalism here on DSP Gaming, right? I'm sorry. Should I get a doily and put it down here on my computer stand that I'm eating on? Should I tuck a napkin into my neck as well to make sure that we're at the utmost of manners? You buffoon. Yikes.
This is more toxic than most people realize, I think, and here's why. Every man should have a code, a way of behaving, and a reason for why he acts that way. I just realized I'm saying he a lot. I'm still gonna, but this is how I feel about everyone, so yeah. It's a personal decision, or perhaps even a declaration of, this is who I am, this is how I want to be seen, and if you don't agree with me, that's okay, but it's who I choose to, and therefore will, be. Even at the most basic level, it's standing for something, even if it's only basic table manners. Phil's objection here is basically, I don't have to put on an act of having manners. It implies that every time he is at a dinner table, or a 5-star restaurant, or with a Grandma Moses sitting in the corner and he uses table manners, he's not wanting to. He's complying for the sake of appearances. He doesn't give a shit about anyone or anything to do with table manners. He's measured that acting this way will likely give me the best shot at something benefiting me. And that's a scary fucking way to think, in my opinion, because everything and everyone becomes a plus-minus analysis which directly impacts how he's going to behave in that moment. But I suppose that goes perfect with his fence-sitting, wishy-washy style of personality.
I love it. And again, when people say to me, all the shit you put up with, right? All the shit you put up with, all the harassment, all the stuff online. So you gotta understand something. Like, my life is amazing. I love my wife. My wife loves me. We take care of each other. We have the best relationship of anyone I've ever had in my life. Like, no lie. Anyone I've ever known in my life. You know? And look what all the work she put into this. Do you think she's upset that I didn't eat this when it was fresh? Of course she is. She wanted me to have it when it was fresh. But shit happens, right? And she makes me this amazing food. And she cares for me and I care for her. It's like, that's life. That's what you want out of life. And I have it. So it's like, whatever happens, happens, right? Because I'm happy, man. And people don't get that. They don't get that. Oh, but you're Mr. Small Time on YouTube and you're just a little... Who gives a fuck? I'm happy with my life. So it doesn't matter about your virtual bullshit online. I'm happy with who I am in life, so I don't care about what you say. None of it matters, man.
Any man who must say, I am the king, is no true king.
And Phil definitely doesn't understand this notion. For some, incels mostly, yeah, I think having a woman waiting on them hand and foot while playing video games would be their life's ambition. But for me, I've been overseas, I've been married, I've been divorced, I've crushed my big toe with a 75-pound dumbbell. I know, a shattered toe, yes shattered, the bone was in 10 plus fragments, isn't gout, but it's still pretty bad. I've shifted my entire profession, learned new things, met new people, and have had a pretty good life, all while not making $100K a year for the last 15 years. And I'll take my life, ups, downs, and all, over sitting in a room in Renton, Washington, as my only other form of human contact makes me food for me to be a disgusting swine on camera. But make no mistake, Phil is not happy. Just like his manners, Phil is putting on an act. It's like he's in the 3rd grade and was just told by his teacher, just ignore it when people insult you. But he misses the mark ever so slightly by telling the people, I'm ignoring you. He's trying to fight back against the trolls by saying he's happy, but come on, man. Body language is a thing, you know.
Fucking Turkey Tom gonna sit there. Oh, 10 years of failure. 10 years of failure as you sit there behind your fucking computer researching detractor memes about me for a month, editing together a 2-hour documentary about me. I'm the 10-year failure, but I'm the one enjoying my life, and you have to fucking sift through their bullshit to get a video to make money. While I get to sit here and play games all day with fun people and have a good time with my life, and then walk out of this office and have a good life, you're sitting there sifting through detractor shit all day. So who had the 10 years of failure? What the fuck are you talking about? So I love that dumb shit. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? You're out of your mind.
Turkey Tom? He hasn't said shit about Phil for what, 2-3 months? God damn, sis, he really hurt you, didn't he? And you have to go through detractor memes to make a video while I get to play video games isn't the flex you think it is, Phil. I know he's a controversial figure, but Jordan Peterson said in reference to violence that a man who cannot enact violence is harmless, and a good man has capacity for violence, but he has it under control. And this premise works here, but in skill. Turkey Tom may not make as much as Phil, or live in a gated community. Hell, maybe Tom's not married, or is fully single. But what Tom isn't is useless. And that's what Phil is, useless. He has no skills. He has no ambition. He has no drive. He has no internal motivation to make himself better. He's just content to be useless. And to me, that's sickening.
That's what the internet doesn't understand. They think that everything is based on arbitrary success and failure based on views on your videos and shit. Who gives a fuck about all of that? You know? Some of the most successful creators are miserable fucking people who are scumbags. So why do I want to care about them or be like them? I don't. You know? Love is what matters, man. People say, he's drunk right now. I'm not drunk at all. In fact, I refilled my Long Island iced tea to try to have more. This is just reality. In reality, you don't need to be big time to be happy. You don't need to be Mr. Popular. This is the stuff in life that matters. Having someone who loves you. That's what matters. Nothing else. Not any bullshit that people make up. Some fucking phantom calculation of what's right and wrong, what's good and bad, what's popular, what's not popular, what's successful, what's not successful. None of their shit matters. What matters is, are you happy in your life?
He's drunk. Hard stop. He's in the love phase, and he's drunk. And what he's saying is terrible advice. I think what he's trying to say is, you don't have to conform, and you can beat your own path. Instead, what he said was, morality doesn't matter, do what makes you happy. Which I think is the mantra of every fucking serial killer in the history of fucking ever.
I'm happy to be loved. For the first time I've had that kind of relationship in my life, truly loved, for life. That's what it's all about. I've already hit that maximum level in that regard. Now it's all about all the other bullshit around me and trying to make do with all of that. But I've hit success, to the level that I want in my personal life. And I'm happy with that.
This is the definition of pathetic. To think you've hit the peak of life by marrying someone you love. And don't get me wrong, finding someone you love and having your life with them is great, but that should be a building block, not the ultimate goal. Honestly, if I thought where I am now was the absolute peak of my existence in life, Jesus, I'd be depressed as fuck. And the fact that Phil is unwilling to even consider improving or making himself and his life better is scummy as fuck.
I got a $2 tip here. Thank you, whoever this was. Excuse me. Mix water, we're worried about you. You're worried about me because I'm spouting facts. Okay. People don't like facts. They don't. They're afraid of them. Again, they look at someone like me. All these YouTubers out there, they look at me and they say, how can he be happy? He's small time. Everyone makes fun of him constantly. Everyone hates on him constantly. Because listen, I love my job. I love my personal life. I make a living doing it. Why do I give a shit about any of the other white noise? Really, I don't have to worry. I don't have to scrape and claw to get by. I don't have to worry about being canceled. I can't be canceled. right? I don't have to sift through detractor shit of people crapping on people constantly to put out videos. I don't have to crap on people, be negative to make videos. I don't have to do any of that stuff. I have the life.
This is 100% pure grade A copium. Let's talk about some choice phrases in this bullshit-laden rant. Quote, people don't like facts. They don't. They're afraid of them. End quote. So facts like, the line app was linked to your phone. Down from the rafters, WWE spend amounts are suspiciously close to your daily intakes of tips. You exhibit several indicators of narcissistic personality disorders. You are weak. You are fat, according to BMI and muscular percentage or lack thereof. You are lazy. You are cruel. And you are, by any metric you wish to use as a measurement, a horrible human being. Quote, why do I give a shit about any of the other white noise? End quote. I don't know, DSP, why do you? You just brought up Turkey Tom after he dropped you 2+ months ago, yet whatever he did to you damaged you so badly you brought him up unprovoked. You bring up the Argentinian memberships whenever you can, Keem, side-scrollers, and other drama to fuel your sympathy bucks. So why do you care so much about what everyone thinks of you? Quote, I don't have to scrape and claw to get by, end quote. Scrape and claw implies you are fighting to survive, that you refuse to go down without a fight, and this just isn't you at all. Scraping and clawing to get by would be admirable. You'd be on your grind, trying to make money through hard work and sheer effort. You begging for money is not scraping and clawing because it's not in the same category. You have to beg to get by, because you have no skills in which you could use to scrape and claw. Your entire existence is fueled by what strangers on the internet do, which, personally, I'd rather scrape and claw. Quote, I can't be cancelled, end quote. That's called being a cockroach, Phil. Why would you ever be proud to be a cockroach?
You know, it's tough because it's stressful with a lot of the shit that I have to go through with these people, but I have the life, man. I'm happy where I am. I always have been. Why do you think when people say to me, how can you do it? This is why, because...
And I'm sorry to cut him off again so soon, but there's a key phrase here. The statement was, quote, when people say to me, how can you do it, end quote, and it's a single fucking word, but it makes all the difference. If I'm in awe of someone, let's say a Mr. Universe bodybuilder, and I want to know how to be like that, I ask him the question, how do you do it? When a man in a brown uniform with a tiny mustache says he has a fine old solution and starts building a bunch of showers, I ask how could or how can you do this? See, they're not asking because they're envious of your life, Phil. They're asking you, how can you do it because of how absolutely vile and shitty you are? It's horror they're exuding, not envy. And really, for the most part, that wraps up this first video. He insults the viewers some more, but as I stated, we got some shit to get through, so let's load the next one in the chamber.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Hogan. Drip.
Snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go. Cool. That's the recap. Now, the only other final thing to say, I had a great time yesterday. I was pleased with how everything went. A lot of people always want to make it about money, all right? I don't even want to think about it in that regard. Actually, yesterday was basically as if I had streamed normally all day. That's about how well I did, all right? No, there wasn't giant fundraising bombs or anything like that, nor did I ask for that. It wasn't a special event where we had a giant fundraising goal at the bottom of the screen. I was talking about it all stream. In fact, I didn't talk about it at all. I don't think I even once mentioned it. I just said, hey, every once in a while, hey, you want to support, please do. That was it. I never really even brought it up. And that was good. It made it so that I didn't have to think about it, and it was a better event for that, I definitely believe, okay?
So I didn't sit the whole Super Bowl Begathon, but if he's being truthful, doubtful at best, the only reason he wasn't bringing it up is because, surprisingly, he was aware that he was already past the point of acceptable begging, even for him. So to keep the trolls at bay, he'd have to put on a brave boy face and tough through it. Him saying he doesn't have to worry about money, though? Oh, he's worried. He's stupid worried. And this is a great time to address a miscalculation I had in a previous video. At one point I said that Phil was tipped I think either $6,400 or $6,800 in the whole of January. I ended up apparently having extra cells from the spreadsheet wildly throwing the calculation off. In truth, Phil, according to Piece of Pieces spreadsheet, received $4,516 in tips for the month of January, which is still nothing to sneeze at, and since that time he's received $1,975 in tips for the month of February, Why bring that up here, where Phil says he doesn't have to worry? Because he absolutely does have to worry. According to the tractor math, which you can figure out how is done from a link I'll put in the description, Phil blew $4,800 in January on WWE. So he's near 300 in the hole already. If those calculations are correct, normally they're on the conservative side. Also, now he knows the troll memberships will affect him, and he's scrambling to find a solution. So this idea that I was happy to not make it all about the money, guys, is absolute horseshit.
But essentially, it was as if I had just done 2 regular streams on a Saturday, okay? Now, I was honestly hoping that I would have gotten maybe a little extra to help for the fact that I am down a lot of income because I'm basically not getting much income with memberships anymore because people found this exploit to gift them all out essentially for free. Make no bones about it. I am way down right now, and I'm going to get paid by YouTube in a little over a week, and that payment is going to be dramatically less than what I usually get paid by YouTube, and that's going to hurt because I still got to afford everything. I got to pay all my bills and everything, all right? So all I'll say is this. If you like the content, please support it this month, all right? Anything helps, really, literally anything. A super chat, a membership, a tip is all great, but tipping would be amazing because if you tip me, I get those funds now, and it's going to help once this YouTube payment comes in and ends up being way lower. The tips are going to help me to continue to be able to pay the stuff without running out of stuff or being tight, you know? No, this is not me putting it on you. This is not me doing a ginormous fundraiser on top of everything normal. I'm not doing that, all right?
Phil, I can say a piece of shit is chocolate and it won't make it true. Just like you saying, I'm not putting it on you, while you do place it directly on your viewers. As you say, no bones about it, your entire existence on the internet is supported solely from people who pay you money. Your ad revenue has to be absolute garbage, and any memberships are still paid for by your viewers. So, be it tips, memberships, or super chats, or whatever, the entirety of your life rests on the backs of your viewers. So yes, daily you put your entire life onto others. You have an external locus of control, and nothing you do is ever your fault or responsibility. It's always someone else's. No other streamer I know of talks about my bills ever, unless it's a hyperbolic thank you, like, and thanks, viewer, for keeping the lights on around here. And it just bears repeating from my other videos. You could garner all the good faith in the world if you just showed what your monthly expenses are. But you don't, because Phil is both the world's largest gambler for sweaty men JPEGs, as well as the world's biggest coward. Kudos, Phil. You're the best in 2 things.
But I'm a down-to-earth guy, and my problems are real problems. You know, when you get a troll element of people out there who just want to destroy your life, and this has happened many times before, and I assume it'll probably keep happening, for no good reason. It's not like I seek these people out or know anything about them. They're just nuts, okay? It is what it is, all right? So anything this month would be greatly appreciated, but definitely tips would help way more right now, because tips, well, literally, I get them now and can pay bills and stuff with them, and I would appreciate that very much. Thank you in advance to anyone who supports, okay?
Also, I hate this bullshit about, if you pay any other way than tipping, I have to wait for the monies. How hard is it to pick up the fucking phone and say, hey, insert utility or company here, what options do I have for extending my payments, etc., etc.? Like, I get some cities or internet providers will hard drop you the second you're late on a bill, but for the most part, I found utilities or other bills to be very accommodating if you just talk to them. But again, Phil has the socialization of a kidnapped child that's been locked in a cellar all their life. Anyway, 2 videos down, 6 to go. This next one, DSP gonna cope some more.
Lovely Super Bowl Sunday. I'm doing pretty good. Well, I'm recovering from yesterday's marathon, to say the least. We'll talk about that. In fact, that is the major point of discussion on today's show, recapping what we did yesterday, how it went, things that went right, things that went wrong, and looking forward to the rest of the week, right? So, today is Sunday, February 11th, 2024. Today actually is Super Bowl Sunday in the United States, meaning today is the big game, the one national championship for the NFL. Because of that, tons of people in the United States today will be busy. They're going to be at parties, they're going to be watching the show themselves, having their own celebrations. Because of this, likely today, I'm expecting way less stream attendance and engagement and support, just being honest. If there's so few people that are going to be around the internet just to watch random stuff like my content, then probably we're going to see a big dip, and that's okay. That was to be expected. This is also why I did my marathon for the Super Bowl yesterday, so that way people would actually show up and not be busy on Super Bowl Sunday. It would have been pretty silly to do it today.
I'm sorry, but it begs the question. Phil, did you get invited to a Super Bowl party? I mean, you know your revenue is going to be shit because Super Bowl. You could have taken this day off, chilled with the bros or the homies. Or did the fact no one invited you to a party just reinforce that you have a grating personality and no one could possibly want to be your friend in real life? And maybe that's why you didn't take the day off?
So, I'm very, very, excited for the rest of the week due to the progress that we made yesterday. But things definitely did not go according to plan. Let's put it that way. You know, with this whole Super Bowl Bash event that we had been planning, right? We had been talking about a variety of stuff to do and never really set in stone too much. The two things that we absolutely set in stone was, number one, we were going to simulate the Super Bowl in Madden 24, and that actually ended up being probably the best thing all day, I would say. Shockingly good. Lots of suspense. The game's AI was pretty good. It was entertaining to watch these two teams go at it when I didn't even know anything about them, and people were trying to educate me on the fly about these teams as I was commentating on it. It went really well, basically. I really enjoyed that segment of the marathon.
So Phil thought the Comp v Comp simulation was really engaging and so tense and exciting. Imagine what real football is like, Phil, but something tells me that seeing men who work hard at their peak of physical strength and are otherwise decent people would hit him wrong, which is why he prefers to watch the pixelated versions instead. Hey, that's probably why he doesn't watch wrestling anymore and just uses WWE Champions, too.
The other segment that was a guarantee 100% that we were doing was going to be Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, trying to unlock the NFL player class and getting as far as I could in Chapter 5 to try to advance the game so that we can actually play the Dondoko Island simulator mode later in the week, because that's going to be co-op with my wife, Kat. And we need to make that progress to unlock it so that's available on Valentine's Day, which is this Wednesday. Let me put it this way. We did everything we had set out to do and intended to do. It just took way longer than originally we thought. And even people who had played the game before didn't realize how long that segment was going to take to do it. And for those who stuck around, it was an enjoyable experience. We were hanging out, we were talking, you know, having a good time while I was doing it. But at the very same time, a lot of people left and didn't really come back. They kind of left and were like, oh, this is too much Like a Dragon. And it is what it is. That was not the original intention of the marathon, to be 3.5 hours of Like a Dragon, nor did anyone really expect it was going to be, but we just kind of got locked into it. It is what it is, but hey, the rest of the day went well. And what we're going to do is we're going to recap segment by segment kind of how it went. And tell you, because some of the videos corrupted, and that really sucked, because I couldn't get all the videos live last night. Some of them, you know, I had to wait for the stream, the archive stream that I saved, to process. Once it processed, then you can like download the entire stream as a video, and you can edit out the portion that's missing. Here's the real big bummer, all right? On YouTube, and this doesn't make sense to me, if you do a long stream, like my stream yesterday started at 10:45 a.m. and ended at like 9:15 p.m. Yes, this was actually one of the longest marathons I've ever done, because again, we went so long with Like a Dragon that it kind of threw the whole schedule out of whack, and so we ended up going super late. Usually I end my marathons around 7:30, and we went almost 2 extra hours last night, okay?
If you don't know Phil, that last little bit probably sounded like a generic statement. If you do know Phil, you know exactly how much of a pity party, woe is me, please give me money segment that was. But let's jump back to the start of this last segment, where he's talking about having to unlock the football player and having to unlock Dondoko Island. Does his console, his power, or his hands, stop working when he stops streaming? Why couldn't he clock in a bit of off-stream overtime to maintain the schedule, thereby likely keeping viewers, Phil, and then keep his marathon on track? Why is the man who doesn't do absolutes always seeming to do things 100% or 0%?
Now, basically, when you have a really long stream like that, YouTube doesn't even allow you to edit on YouTube, because traditionally what happens is when you stream on YouTube, it auto saves an archive of your stream, and let's say you need to edit out a clip of that, you need to edit out a part of that for a playthrough, or, you know, for me, I'm always locally recording while I'm also streaming. So right now I'm recording this podcast as a video that I'll upload later, but if something goes wrong and it corrupts or has an issue, I can always rip this portion of the stream out and make a separate video on YouTube. Well, you can't do that with a marathon, because when YouTube sees a stream that's like, I'm trying to remember what the limit is. I want to say it's 5 hours, but it might be 6. Whenever YouTube sees a stream of a certain length, it says, error, stream too long, cannot edit at all. I'm like, what? Yeah, oh well, stream's too long, can't do it. We just have this arbitrary rule that when a stream is this long, you can't edit the stream anymore.
Tell me you have no concept of video size or processing requirements for large videos, on a free service, mind you, without telling me you have no concept of video size or processing requirements for large videos.
Anyway, so that was the beginning of the marathon. And then food was ready, so we had pizza bombs, these homemade snacks that my wife made in the oven with dough and cheese and pepperoni and all kinds of seasonings and stuff, and they were super good. And that was a good thing to break up the gameplay. I already did the podcast and the Tekken, so it was good to break that up a bit. And of course, the complete negative trolls show up and are like, you know, oh, that's really not authentic. And I'm like, authentic? You gotta be an idiot. It's a Super Bowl event. These are supposed to be like snack foods that you would just eat as like a tailgater or something. This is not like Nana's authentic Italian kitchen making a pizza bomb. How do you make an authentic pizza bomb? It's an American creation. Like, what are you talking about? But people are just so fucking stupid. They gotta make a negative out of everything. Keep in mind, these are the people who, they're watching my stream just to make fun of it. Meanwhile, they're probably sitting at home alone, miserable with their life, and this is how they get their pleasure. If they would just get off their lazy asses and go do something positive and productive in their lives for 5 minutes, maybe they would meet someone who they could have a relationship with, and then they could make them great food. Just like I was eating during my marathon. But they actually have to get off their ass and stop making fun of people on the internet for 5 minutes, and they can't do that. So...
A lot to unpack here, but let's start with the pizza bombs. About 4 minutes after revealing these health food items, remember, Phil is all about health, fucking douche. Anyway, 4 minutes in, he says,
why buy crappy Totino's pizza rolls when you can make authentic, tasty stuff at home that's way better, right?
So it wasn't the Dents who established that your food was authentic. You did. But since your default retort is, people are making shit up, the fact you forgot you said authentic, well, it just makes you look like a jackass even more. Oh, and lest we forget, after this, apparently Phil left the stream, and while gone, people started poking fun at the authenticity of the rolls. And Kat was watching the stream. So, when Big Bad Philbert came back, he flexed the only modicum of power he has and began banning people with a smug, better-than-you attitude. Again, solidifying Phil as the jackass of jackasses. But then we get to the caviar of cringe and cope. Quote, they're probably sitting at home alone, miserable with their life, end quote. This coming from the man who is sitting alone in a chair, on his ass, who only survives off of begging people for money. Pot, have you met Kettle? Kettle? Pot? Next we have, quote, if they would just get off their lazy asses. We'll go in order of where I'm weakest to where I'm strongest. Please note all maxes are from estimates of current strength skill. My mile time is 7 minutes, my squat is 405 pounds, my bench is 315 pounds, my deadlift is 495 pounds. So, Phil, since you're not lazy, well, I have to ask, does this motherfucker even fucking lift? Quote, go do something positive and productive in their life, end quote. I work for a company who has a campaign to save all children from exploitation and human trafficking. What do you do, Phil? How do you contribute? And again, these may seem like flexes, and in some respect they are. I've worked damn hard to get my numbers to where they are, so when Phil throws this cavalier attitude of, all my detractors are fat basement dwellers, I'm gonna correct him. Moreover, I urge his supporters to clip this and show it to him, particularly this next part, because I want Phil to know that, unlike him, I can back my shit up. If Phil has the balls to call me out, I will happily squat, bench, or deadlift those numbers with a sign in the background showing a phrase of his choosing so he knows it's me. I mean, I know this won't happen, but I'd like to think that one day a supporter of Phil will see this. See how a normal person behaves when, you don't lie, and maybe call Phil out, ultimately resulting in their ban and the pignosis wearing off, which, to be honest, is my actual goal here.
That was pretty funny. Then we continued on, and it was Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Now here is definitely where we veered in a side direction from what I thought the marathon was going to be. First of all, I started drinking Long Island iced tea, which was really good. It was Captain Morgan's mix. It tasted great. But basically, I thought, we're going to do 2 hours of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and the goal was to unlock this optional dungeon in the game they call the Labyrinth in Hawaii. And this is a 10-stage dungeon, like 10 levels. And in each level, there's mini boss fights. There's lots of items and things you find. And basically, then you rescue certain people. By the end, you get tons of rewards. You get tons of currency. You get great upgrade items like weapons and armor for your characters. You get crafting items for the blacksmith. Essentially, people are like, yeah, this is where you grind in the game. This is the grind dungeon. But it's fun because you fight unique enemies and things in there. It's worth it. So I'm like, all right, let's do it. And by the way, I had actually unlocked jobs. Last time when we had played, I'd unlocked the Aquanaut and I'd unlocked the Fire Dancer. So we had 2 new jobs to try out. Instead of it just being this default jobs that we had, it was a whole new level of combat and stuff. It was fun. The Aquanaut's cool. He's like swimming around on his surfboard, beating people up with water and stuff. It's pretty funny. So we got through the entire dungeon, but then realized that was the intro. The intro only does 5 stages, and then it kicks you out like, oh, that's not the real dungeon. The real dungeon, you have to go back in again. And I'm like, well, I have to go back in. The goal of me playing this game was unlocking the NFL player class, which I needed to hit a confidence level of 5 and have money to buy the class and unlock it. To get confidence level of 5, you had to go to this vocational school and pay a ton of money to take the courses there to level up your confidence.
Sorry to interrupt here, but when he mentioned the vocational center, well, I happen to find some Broside Phil topical gold dust in there. Let's watch Phil take an exam about muscular science. Hell, I'll probably make this a short.
Muscular science? What is this? Which of the following sports do athletes place particular emphasis on lifting weights with the neck muscles? What the fuck? Clay pigeon shooting? I don't fucking know. I'll say clay pigeon shoot. No, F1 racing. That way the G-forces don't snap your neck. Which of the following foods is said to be the best energy boost and can prevent muscle cramps to be beneficial? What the fucking shit?
Side note real quick, it's a fucking banana. Anybody who's been to the gym and has cramped up knows. It's a fucking banana.
An egg. What is the most appropriate way to reduce soreness from muscle aches after an intense workout? Consume a low carbohydrate,
Or, you know, stretch.
high protein diet. Which of the following is the largest muscle in the average adult male body?
And this is the most damning evidence that this man does not know shit about fuck when it comes to lifting. It's your fucking quads.
The delts, the quads, the pecs, or the rectus abdominis? The rectum? The delts. Which of the following nutrients is the most important for building muscle? Protein.
If this segment proves anything, it's that you can say anything you want. You don't have to be qualified about the subject in any way, shape, or form. Hell, Phil gives dieting advice.
Okay, so I needed to go back in, so I did, and I'm like, all right, we'll just run right through this dungeon quick. The dungeon took 2 hours for 10 stages. It took forever. It was long, drawn out, no story in there, but just insane amounts of, combat. And the thing is, it's not that I didn't have a good time. I did. It was fun, and I was leveling up these new jobs, and you guys were hanging out with me, and we were having fun conversation and everything during it, so it wasn't bad. It was just tedious. And I think it's kind of designed to be that way. Like, that's the tedious part of the game, where if you just want to gel one night, you're coming home from school or work, and you just want to relax and just play through a dungeon and get great rewards. It's nothing too serious, nothing too heavy. That's what those dungeons are for. So, played through the dungeon, had a good time with it, but took forever. So by the time we got out of the dungeon, I had already been playing this game almost 3 hours, and everyone's like, oh my god, like, that was not intended. People had said, oh, you're gonna play Call of Duty? Are you gonna play Pal World? And I'm like, honestly, we don't have time. What we need to do is, after I finish with this, we gotta go right into the Super Bowl simulation, because we don't know how long that's gonna take. And I want to be able to do that. That's like the most important thing of the marathon, right?
Prior to the marathon, Phil was adamant about, tell me what you want to see, guys. I want to do what you want to do. And then when the day arrives, he uses any excuse he can to play what he actually wants to play. Unfucking real.
I hope you'll watch the review and enjoy it, okay? So overall, at the end of the day, here's what we had. The podcast. An hour and a half of Tekken 8 creating an NFL King and playing with King. 3.5 hours of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth to upload. Then the Super Bowl sim, which was 2 parts. The Pizza Bombs video, which was 1 part. And then the DSP tries out the Mr. Beast candy bars. And then Daily Rap. So that was a lot of content all in one day, all to upload at once. So I go to do it. And one of the Like a Dragon videos is corrupted. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm in here. I want to get out of here. And by the way, not only do I have to upload all this content, I also got to set up the playlist for today's React show. So I got to do extra work on top of that. I'm like, oh my god. So now the video is corrupted. And again, I spent like 25 minutes trying to figure out what to do. I couldn't edit the video out of the archive stream. I couldn't download the archive stream because the stream was still processing. And it was processing till almost midnight. So it was just a nightmare. It really was frustrating because I love doing these events. But if something does go wrong during the event, then it just kind of really taxes me. And like, I was so exhausted last night after having done that crazy marathon. And, it took a lot out of me. Let's put it that way. All right?
The audacity this man has to even pretend like he works hard pisses me off. I've worked manual labor. I've worked paramilitary. I've worked you don't sleep until the job is done kind of jobs. I've worked on my feet, carrying weight/gear for 16 hours at a time, had a cold beer, went to bed, and 6 hours later had to do it again. And I would bet my house that there are several who watch my shit that have worked harder jobs than me. And Phil sits there telling this story of corrupted videos and uploads taking till midnight, as if he was just told he needs to dig 3 more miles of trench or work a triple at the coal mine. I can't stand when he pretends to be a hard worker, but I'm just bitter, I'm sure. But now that we know how hard Phil works, we can look at one of his sources of money, Canadian Kirk, who has just been a mega problem child for Phil. Yes, constantly annoying him, pissing him off. It's bad. I mean, it's not King Be Cruel bad, obviously, dude, because Kirk hasn't said, it's just like me, for real, for real. No. Canadian Kirk has just been racist. Yeah. Alright, let's watch this train wreck.
stances and stuff. Like the helicopter stance is his best stance in this one. He basically has like multiple ways to transition into it. And each way, when he gets in the helicopter, he can either attack, high, low, grab, or launch. There's 4 options out of the stance. So no one knows what you're going to do. So they have to react. If they don't, they get punished. The thing is, if they just block a lot, just throw them. Crazy good. Anyway, let's continue. I received a $5 tip from Kirk Reborn. He says, I am back from my fake vacation in Las Vegas. The Niners didn't win. They didn't play a perfect game, which was required to beat the Chiefs, and they missed a 1-point field goal. There's no such thing as a 1-point field goal. I think you're talking about the extra point.
Oh, look, Phil's being a condescending asshole. Who could have seen that coming?
Which was the difference maker, but on the positive side, I got to see Usher's nipples. So there you go. It's always a positive when you get to see Usher's nipples. Well, thank you, Kirk, for the tip. I appreciate that. So, Kirk, for the record, there were multiple people with your name in chat over the weekend, and I don't know if any of them were actually you, but they were basically saying racist things, and I banned every one of them. So if one of them was really you, you're banned. And I'm not going to unban you again if it was really you. Because I thought it was basically someone saw that you said that you were not going to be here this weekend, and they were purposefully impersonating you to cause problems. All right? So I really hope that none of those accounts were really you, because if they are, I'm totally not unbanning you this time. I warned you a million times, and there was just dumb shit being said in the chat, and I said enough is enough. But I figured it was impersonators. I don't know if it was really you or not. Okay. Yes, everyone's like, was it him? It was probably him. I don't know. It's not my job. It's my job to enforce the same rules on everyone in the chat. No one gets special treatment, right? Everyone knows the rules. You're going to be in there. You're going to say dumb shit. You're going to get moderated like everybody else. Okay.
Back the fuck up, Phil. Last time this shit happened, Kirk gave you $40 and you were looking for the email to unban him. This one last time. For someone with a thin skin to personal attacks, you seem to be mighty accommodating to a blatant racist. And this "it's not my job" bullshit to people imitating Kirk? In one respect, you're right. It shouldn't matter if a troll or Kirk is being racist, you ban him. But when you have a known racist spouting hateful shit multiple times in your chat, you should have a ban on detection law amongst your moderators that any account which can be shown to be Kirk is to be banned instantly. But, as we know, that would keep him from tipping, and obviously we can't have that dude, correct? Okay, now guys.
Okay, so I think I've gotten through everything here. It looks like another $5 tip just came in. Hold on. My email... Here's what happened. My laptop did a Windows update overnight. When my laptop does a Windows update, everything updates. So all the browsers updated, all the Windows updated. So now things look weird. They're not like in the right place where they used to be. And I was like, I'm messing with it this morning, like trying to juggle it around and make it look the same how I used to. And it's like an email comes in, but I can't read it, who it's from or anything. It's frustrating. Anyway, I received a $5 tip from an anonymous tipper. Thank you for the continued content. Love seeing you back on fighting games and enjoying life, brother. Thank you very much to the anonymous $5 tipper. Yeah, listen, I have always loved fighting games, right? And, right? Actions speak louder than words. There you go. I mean, that's the original saying, correct?
Actions do speak louder than words, Phil. For instance, the words, "if you act up in the chat, you'll be moderated," hold no weight if you unban the racist once he tips a sufficient amount. If you are wishy-washy about who you enforce your own rules on, no one will respect the limited authority you have. You'll be seen as a biased doofus who only cares about money. And speaking of no respect, YouTube gives no respect to Phil in this next bit.
Okay. So, let's see here. So from D-Man, he says, Phil, I've been a viewer of your content a while now. I've been watching you since October. I haven't really watched you since October because of my schedule. I'm shocked to learn your channel's been bombarded by memberships that pay pennies on the dollar. I'm reaching out. I think I have a solution. I don't know if you heard of a YouTuber called Totally Not Mark. He was getting copyrighted by Toho Animation for videos on how to draw Toho characters like from the Dragon Ball series, which is ridiculous. Since in Japan, copyright is different, it seems like YouTube was letting them get away with it. The solution Mark found, he reached out to YouTube and he got them to block his channel in Japan entirely, so no one in Japan can view his channel at all. I tested this myself with a VPN. I pretended like I was in Japan. I clicked on Mark's profile. All I can do is read what he wrote. All of his videos are blocked to Japanese viewers.
As a big DBZ nerd, I love Totally Not Mark's channel. His style, in particular, his every Dragon Ball abridged episode in 10 words or less video, never fails to make me laugh. If you've ever watched Dragon Ball Abridged, go watch it. You'll be crying from laughing so hard. Anyway, this donor actually has a pretty sound idea. There's already established precedent in that Mark got this to happen, and the reason for the ban per se was influenced by a singular country's laws or status. Now, I could go high and mighty, saying, how dare you want to ban an entire country, but even I have to admit that the trolling is so obvious, this case could easily be made. So, let's see what Phil thinks of this idea.
So maybe you could do that with what's going on with the VPNs to buy memberships for your channel. Well, I have a few things to say about this, all right? I was aware that this was going on, that this guy, Totally Not Mark, was actually, he was a long time person covering anime and manga, and his channel was being destroyed by Toho Animation. Apparently, he had even spoken with, like, the head of Toho. Like, he had reached out and had conversations to them and everything, and basically they didn't care. After a while, they just like, we don't care, it's our right to enforce whatever we want, so too bad. And so he was getting nowhere. Now, I didn't hear about this whole, he talked to YouTube, and YouTube blocked his channel in a region. I don't even know how you would do that. With YouTube, there's no one to talk to but a partner chat, and the partner chat is just a bunch of people in a you know, what do you call it, call center? Because it's not really a call center, it's a chat center, and all they do is they read form letter responses off of facts. That's it. They don't have any information for you to help you whatsoever in anything.
So he starts with a frustration laugh, which I've used that before, but I'd like to think I wouldn't use it when reacting to a genuine suggestion or option from a supporter. Even I've thought of this and maybe I'll send an email would be a better response than laughing at it and saying that there's no one to talk to at YouTube.
Like I said, to give you some example, 2 years ago, what was it, 2 years ago? Now it might have actually been 3 years ago. I discovered a huge bug.
Oh god, no, not the bug story again. Like, for real, Phil, you need new stories. You rehash the same fucking ones over and over. You were sick, the tire got stolen, you discovered a bug, you worked at a helicopter company, you got laid off, Twitch fired you for no reason, machinima is the devil, blah, 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 blah. Go outside, Phil. Get a new story, please.
On YouTube, all right? A loophole that if exploited could actually destroy YouTube. That's how bad it was, okay?
No, it couldn't. Shut up. You know less than nothing about cloud and web architecture. Shut the fuck up.
Okay? I talked to YouTube in the chat and I explained step by step what it was. I showed them screenshots. I explained the whole process of how this was broken and it could ruin their entire site. They argued with me about it, saying that I'm wrong. I was like, but here's the evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Here is all the evidence presented to you of what I'm saying. You can't say it's wrong when I'm showing it to you step by step in these screenshots. Okay?
Okay, we're going to treat this situation like I'm explaining it to a 5th grader. Hey, that means Phil might finally fucking understand. What Phil thinks is a site-destroying bug and what actually is a site-destroying bug are two very different things. Phil, imagine you owned a sandwich shop, and you kept long-term storage for meat in a freezer. A customer comes in one day and sees from the front of the store that the freezer is unplugged. He frantically tells you, screaming, "The meat will spoil! The meat will spoil!" Not knowing you have a temporary freezer out of eyesight you're using while you defrost your main freezer for health reasons. You see, the moronic customer who doesn't know shit about this business, even though he's been coming to the restaurant for 15 years, is wrong in his assumption. Just like you are wrong to a gargantuan extent that any web-style bug you found would cause the destruction of the whole site. You are an ignorant boob in this story. Now please, stop pretending to be smart.
So finally, it just reached, they said, well, there's nothing we can do about it, because, whatever. So I just let it go, whatever. If the site breaks, I guess it breaks. I guess we got to move on and find livelihood elsewhere. Well, 2 months later, on a whim, I go to check. Oh, they fixed it. Now, did they actually talk to me about that? No. Did they let me know that maybe what I had said and shown as evidence, and you know, maybe someone escalated it and it went up the ladder, and finally someone with a brain looked at it and said, "Oh shit, oh wow, we got to fix it," and then they fixed it. I don't know. Did it have anything to do with me? I have no clue. You know, I'm nobody. I keep telling people this.
You are not the main character, Phil. If you're nobody, why would you expect YouTube to tell you they fixed this supposed bug? You are a user of the site. You generate them enough money for one person to have coffee in the office. Get off your high fucking horse.
I'm a tiny guy on YouTube. I don't bring in views. I don't bring in money for this site. I don't, okay? I'm just Joe Nobody. It's remarkable that I get to make a living doing what I do with how small I am, okay? So when I speak, no one listens anymore. There was a time when I spoke, everyone listened, everyone cared, they took me seriously. Nobody gives a shit about me anymore, right? So I don't really get help with this kind of stuff. No, I don't believe that if I went to YouTube and I said, hey, so I have concrete evidence that someone's using a VPN to spoof and pretend like they're from another country, and they're using currency conversion issues to buy thousands of memberships for a few pennies. And so my entire channel's inundated with memberships. Everyone has one for free, and I'm not getting paid for it, and it's ruining my business. Please block the VPN locations of these areas. Do you think YouTube gives two shits about me?
Boy, he went from being indignant about how YouTube didn't tell me they fixed it to, poor whittle me is whittle guy. No one cares about Phil. And why is that even an excuse not to try, Phil? You always say if people have ideas to send them to you, and then you allow your defeatist mentality to just pervert the idea into an impossibility without even taking the first step. Just fucking try one of these recommendations. Maybe it would help. Or does Phil think he is the all-knowing God of everything, and he needs to listen to nobody? While at the same time saying, I need your feedback, guys.
I'm nowhere near, even this guy you're bringing up, Totally Not Mark, he's like 5 times bigger than me. No exaggeration. You know, just talking about anime and shit. This guy's like, you know, tons of views, tons of subs, you know, well-known, well-respected, not hated on by everyone. I hate to say it, like, I wish that I got a fair shake. I wish that I got treated equally like everyone else. I don't. I get treated like gum stuck on the bottom of your shoe. I get treated like a dog turd that someone sees on the side of the sidewalk. That's Dark Side Phil today. I don't get treatment that's deserving of respect. I get treated like, you know, I'm scum. So when I go to YouTube for help, they don't give two fucks about me. They brush me off, you know? And there's nothing I can do about it.
You could change, try to be a better person, try to not be the piece of shit that you just described yourself as. Accurately, I might add. But no, that would be too much work, and it's obviously better to stay exactly where you are and do nothing to improve yourself, right, dude?
That's what happens when the internet makes me the butt of their joke and ruins my reputation for over 10 years. So now I can't get help with anything, you know? Right now, no, I have absolutely no confidence whatsoever that if I went to YouTube and I said, hey, so this is happening, can you block regions, that anyone would give two fucks. I don't think so at all. I think they would let, you know, no, can't do, don't do that. What are you talking about, right? And if I said, well, what about Totally Not Mark? They're like, we don't know what you're talking about, right? That's how they are.
Yes, Phil is the victim. He's the one that doesn't get respect for swearing and insulting his viewers. He's the one who gets held to the higher standard, the high standard of chew with your mouth closed. Such a tragic tale of injustice this is for Philbert.
Basically, it sounds to me like Totally Not Mark probably lawyered up, right? Probably paid for a lawyer to contact YouTube about the issue, and YouTube worked with his lawyer to get this done. I don't have that kind of money, clout, or any kind of attention, control, nothing. They don't care about me. So I don't think that would ever happen, quite frankly. I just don't think that would be a solution for me. If YouTube actually had like a partner manager program who you work with someone directly to help you, right? If this was back in the day and I was partnered with Machinima, and Machinima had contact with actual humans at YouTube who weren't in the chat center, who actually had intelligent brains and control over things at YouTube, then yeah, then maybe that would be worth the shot. But I'm telling you right now, it's just not viable, you know, for me, for someone of my stature. I'm old news to YouTube. They don't give a shit about me. So yeah, it's sad. I wish that sounds like oh wow, that sounds amazing. Yeah, listen to me. If YouTube doesn't care that people impersonate me on a daily basis and hit false copyright strikes against people and get their channel shut down, which is a huge legal ramification for them, YouTube could be sued for misuse of DMCA law by a class action lawsuit, and they will lose it. Because they're not verifying anyone's identity when they take down content. Their system is so inferior. You have to verify identity.
I know he's mid-sentence, but this is proof positive he can talk like a human. Go back 5 seconds and listen to his first pronunciation of identity. Then listen to him say the same word, but like an actual human this time, right before the cut comes in. So he can be normal. He's choosing to try and act smarter than everyone else.
You cannot have a legal proceeding happen without verifying the person is who they say they are. You can't just have an online forum take down someone's business. That's fucking illegal.
No, it's not, you insufferable dumbass. YouTube relinquishes responsibility from the claim when the person electronically signs the form saying, I am declaring under penalty of perjury the statements or claims contained within this form are true and accurate to the best of my knowledge. Now, the fact that no one prosecutes the people falsely doing this, that's not on YouTube. That's on the individual jurisdiction from where the offense occurred. But, once again, Filbert thinks he's the smartest man in the universe and he has it all figured out. But he needs your tips, guys.
Okay? And YouTube does it every day. If I've notified them that people are doing this mass in my name, which could potentially create a ginormous lawsuit against them, and they ignored me, and they gave me a form letter response from their legal team, and their partner chat said, that's not your problem, have other people contact us with their lawyers, and we'll deal it case-by-case basis. That's the response I got. If that's what I got for that situation, I have zero confidence that they're going to say, oh yeah, we're going to check for you. Oh, look at this. It looks like a bunch of people from this country just seem to be mass buying memberships for 0.0000 pennies. So let's just block the country from your viewership. That'll never happen.
And he's right, because he's not even going to try. Dumb as a fucking fence post, this guy. Next on the docket is someone telling Phil to stop begging. Oh, this should go over well.
So basically this person is saying a lot of people don't want to hear the same topics like the daily schedule, talking about YouTube monetization, hearing about things going wrong. They tune into a stream to unplug from their reality and the stresses of life because they just want to relax and have fun. And I get that. I totally get that. In fact, I rarely even talk about that stuff. Seriously, like usually the podcast is the place where I would talk about that stuff. Oddly enough, the podcast is where I'm getting the most views, the most engagement, and the most support.
Because your gameplay is fucking garbage, Phil, and we want to see what out-of-pocket shit you're gonna say next. That's your relevance, Phil. You probably ought to lean into it.
So I understand what you're saying, correct? I do. Like, I totally get it. And I tend to agree with you that I need to do less of that, but at the very same time, okay, that seems to be what a lot of people are tuning in for and supporting. So I think what it is I have different audiences. You know what I'm saying? I just do. I have people who tune in who just want to hang out for gameplay. But then I have people who tune in and they actually want to have that level of discussion. And I have people who tune in for various reasons, right? So in your case, you may be someone who just wants to see me play a game. So you know what my recommendation is for that? And this is me being honest, and I hope you'll take it to heart. This is not me slamming anyone. Tune in at 12:45 p.m. Pacific time every day. Because by the time I'm starting with the game, I'm done with all these discussions. They're done. You don't have to be here for the podcast. Skip it. Come for the gameplay, which starts around 12:45 p.m. every day.
But Phil, the gameplay is boring as fuck, and it's filled with you being a toxic asshole. There's no stress-free environment there. You amp up, you rage out, complain constantly, bitch about every little thing, and never take responsibility for anything you do. Why anyone wants to unironically watch you is baffling to me from the jump, but your gameplay especially. Additionally, he didn't say he didn't want to hear your pre-stream podcast. He said he doesn't want to hear about your schedule, your finances, and your bitching. Why do these things have to be a part of the podcast? Why can't you post your schedule, link it with your chatbot, and never mention it again? Why do you need to discuss your financial situations with your audience, whether it's facts or not? And most importantly, why do you need to be toxic as fuck to your chat almost every goddamn day? That's likely what this guy wants to see stop, because again, you are fucking boring when you're playing games.
Late streams, I don't really do this podcast segment. I do like maybe 10 minutes of hanging out with the audience and we get into the game. And the game usually starts around 7:15 p.m. Pacific time. So tune in at 12:45 p.m. or 7:15 p.m. Pacific time and just enjoy the gameplay portions of the streams. Rarely will you hear me bringing up these topics that you have issue with. Information. They'll say, all I do is bring it up all day. I don't. I purposely separate it out so that way you don't have to be bombarded with those topics when I'm playing the game. When I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3 today, do you think I'm going to be talking about this stuff? No. I'm going to talk about Baldur's Gate 3. So that's the point. That's why I actually started this podcast before it was even called a podcast. I called it the pre-stream because I wanted to get these topics out of the way. So once we start playing the game, we can focus on the game. Other content creators turn the stream on within 5 minutes they're playing the game, and what are they talking about? 20 loads of bullshit, right? Good luck trying to watch that playthrough back later, because the first hour of their content is them shooting the shit small talk with their fucking audience and has nothing to do with the game.
Yes, Phil, that's why they're successful. They can multitask. They can actually chill with their audience while playing a game. Yeah, when they need to focus, they may quiet down, but for the most part, they actually have laid-back, chill streams. Look at it from another point of view. Let's say you invited your boys over, not that you have friends, but go with me on this, and I don't know, 5 or 6 of you are chilling out around the couch, and you say you're gonna play Dark Souls 4 if that ever gets made. And you're starting the game, learning the controls, when your friend we'll call Jim starts talking to your other friend Steve about his wife nagging him, and the whole conversation starts up. Are you going to scold your mythological friends for not being quiet while you learn the controls of the game? And if the answer is yes, I have news for you, Phil. That's why you have no friends.
So how does that make sense? In reality, it doesn't, but it's just become a commonplace thing that everyone else does, so I guess that's how you're supposed to do it, right? I do it way more professional and organized, but I guess I do it wrong. Just don't tune into the podcast if you're not interested in those topics, you know? I feel like I already solved this problem ages ago. But maybe I didn't. I don't know. I'm just giving you my take on it, because that's, you know, I feel like that wasn't an issue. For those who want to avoid this kind of discussion and topic, don't tune into the podcast. Just jump into the gameplay, where I'm basically avoiding talking about those topics over and over, right?
But again, Phil, they may want to hear about your dumb fucking day off or your regarded news segment, and you're telling them to piss off because you're unwilling to change anything. Also, I don't think I've ever heard Phil give the reasoning behind why he feels the need to talk about his schedule every day. If someone knows, please drop it in a comment or something, because I've heard the speculation of it makes him feel important or because it's an element of control, but these have always been theories. Has Phil ever explained it? Maybe it'll be one of the great unsolved mysteries, like who's trolling Phil by playing down from the rafters because it's totally not him. Anyway, last up is Phil begging and guilt-tripping people. Because of course it is.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Hogan.
Drip. Snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go. All right, split the part here and we will continue with more. Split the part and stretch my legs, guys. All right, so guys, if you are enjoying Tekken today, please support the stream. The pattern that I've been noticing really lately is very simple. All right, everyone is hanging out on the podcast. I get a lot of support on the podcast. As soon as I start playing the game, there's no support for the rest of the stream, and it's starting to kill me. To be honest here, like I have all those fake gifted memberships, and it's been weighing on me now for a month, and I lost a lot of revenue because of that.
And there was much rejoicing.
And it's funny that I don't know what else to do. I'm playing the new games, you know. It would be great to get anything. I mean, a simple super chat, a tip, anything. And I mean, I understand, oh, he's e-begging. Well, yeah, take a look. I've been playing Yoshimitsu now for an hour and a half, and literally there's been 0 contribution, 0. Not a tip, nothing.
And that is not your viewer's fault, you asshole. You playing the hot new games doesn't entitle you to money. You playing Yoshimitsu doesn't entitle you to money. You know what does entitle you to money? A fucking job, Phil. Also, the Argentinian membership's weighing on you? Good. Perhaps you can stop spending your fucking money on sweaty man JPEGs and start acting like a fucking adult. Because you know what this reminds me of? Allowance. I got allowance for doing chores as a kid. It was a meager amount, and to be honest, I should have been doing the things that they wanted me to because it needed to be done, but to incentivize a small child, an allowance was a good motivator. That's the mentality he has. The transactional nature of Phil. I have performed task X. Task X means I should be compensated by Y. And when he doesn't get it, he's indignant because he expects it. He seems to have the mental capacity of a first grader.
It's like, so you guys like Tekken? You're here for it, right? People seem to enjoy it. I don't know. You know? Exactly. Dentronic says, don't have to double the podcast length. I might as well. I really might as well at this point. Right? Alright, I'm going to stretch my legs here before we continue here. If you think casual matches are boring, you're an idiot. These are matches where I'm learning how to play the game and I'm actually losing, so what are you talking about? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Fuck this man with a Brillo pad. What a piece of shit. The viewer basically says, I ain't paying for casual matches, and Phil immediately retorts with, well, you're an idiot. Brilliant business strategy, Phil. Insult the very people you are begging for money. A man could walk up to Phil, pull out a 5, and Phil would say, what the fuck is that, you idiot? I see the 20 in there. Dude is out here acting like that one bitch Amy from Kitchen Nightmares, telling the customers they're wrong. Prick. But at long last, we have come to the close. This wasn't what I had in mind when I said long-form content, but Phil was an exceptional asshole this week, so lucky you. Again, big ups to Snort Hogan and Doody Streams, I appreciate you both. Big ups to my viewers, anyone who likes, shares, comments, and all that stuff. And, of course, the biggest of ups go to the members of the Gem Rat Tractor Squad. I cannot thank you enough for your support. Till next time, swole is the goal for a troll. Lift heavy, eat clean. Can you imagine this asshole in conversation? I like the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, if you don't like the Seattle Seahawks, you're an idiot. See, I once found a site-breaking bug on YouTube.